Yeah, today is Monday, February 3rd, 2025. It's at 10 o'clock in the evening, and I am just inside my room at the company dormitory building, just in front of Oryudong Station. And it's just on the outskirts of Seoul. Incheon City is quite near, but still, my apartment is in the Seoul City proper. I'm just using this one-room studio alone, but my family members, my wife and second daughter, are in Gwangju City, my hometown, and my first daughter is in the UK. Her university is Durham University. So basically, we have three homes to ourselves. And the trade war has just started, and the Korean stock market plummeted like 5 to 6% today. Alas, I should have sold all of my stocks on Friday. If I did that, probably I could have profited 5 to 6% right off the bat today. So it's a shame that I didn't. So my stock prices plummeted by 6% today. So let's learn about what Trump tariff is all about and how it threatens to disrupt the world economy, right? And also, I would like to pick up some English words, expressions, cliches, knowledges, and remember them, right? So far, I all understand every words, expressions that I encounter on the internet. So here we go. This article is from CNBC.com, quite famous cable news network affiliated with NBC, right? And CNBC is specialized on the business and financial matters. Their subject is Trump tariff threats. Trump tariff threats fuel front-loading of trade shipments into U.S., led by China. What is a front-loading, right? The washing machine has a front-loading as versus to top-loading. And some financial institutions charge front-loading fees, right? They just front-load the investments, which means they take out some money from the initial payments by the investors for their management fees. Published Friday, January 17th, 2025. This article was written by Lori Ann LaRocco. It is called Byline. Key points. Shippers are front-loading cargo bound for the U.S. market due to uncertainty regarding new tariffs from President-elect Trump and potential supply chain congestion, including items from apparel to sneakers to home appliances and critical components for infrastructure projects. Products from China dominated the pulling forward of freight, front-loading, right? Pulling forward of freight, according to a new CNBC supply chain survey, and that matches recent Chinese government trade data showing an export surge in December. US-based companies are also switching to non-Chinese suppliers and manufacturing operations in Vietnam, Cambodia, India, Malaysia, Kenya, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Taiwan, and Turkey. Aerial view of the import and export container terminal of Longtan Port on December 26, 2024 in Nanjing, Jiangsu province of China. Nanjing, Jiangsu province of China. Major ports on the Yangtze, China's longest river, are expected to post a total throughput of 4.02 billion tons of cargo this year, breaking the mark of 4 billion tons for the first time, according to navigation authorities. China News Service, get images. Interesting. Chinese economy is so strong these days. One major threat to the U.S. supply chain has been lifted, with a tentative deal to keep port workers from striking across the East and Gulf coasts reached last week, but shippers have been front-loading products for the U.S. market in the weeks leading up to President-elect Trump's inauguration due to the potential for aggressive trade tariffs. Aggressive trade tariffs, right? Tentative deal. One major threat to the U.S. supply chain has been lifted, with a tentative deal to keep port workers from striking across the East and Gulf coasts reached last week, but shippers have been front-loading products for the U.S. market in the weeks leading up to President-elect Trump's inauguration due to the potential for aggressive trade tariffs. So front-loading, like you front-loading your washer, right? The washer can only take a certain amount of clothes for its washing capacity, but you just front-loading. You just keep putting in your dirty clothes into the washer. The majority, 78% of respondents to the latest CNBC supply chain survey say shipping clients requested to pull forward freight in anticipation of both the increased tariff threat and the potential strike. Freight was being directed to ports on both East and West Coast. The survey, which sampled executives from member companies in the National Retail Federation and American Apparel and Footwear Association, as well as executives at logistics components companies, including C.H. Robinson and ITS Logistics, was conducted from December 11th, January 6th. Products from China dominated the pulling forward of freight, which matches recent trade data from the Chinese government showing a surge in exports in 2024 and in the month of December in particular. That was followed by products from Europe, with Mexico, Vietnam, and Malaysia tied for third. India and South America were other areas of product origin being front-loaded. India and South America are other areas of product origin being front-loaded. The number one question from shippers right now is around timing, according to Sri Laxmana, Vice President of Global Forwarding for the Americas at C.H. Robinson, pointing to the recent statement from Trump on declaring a national emergency to execute his tariff plan, which would trigger the tariffs immediately. There have also been recent reports that the Trump economic team is considering a gradual implementation of tariffs over a period of months to avoid creating a sudden inflationary spike. Historically, it has typically taken months for full implementation of tariffs using administrative action, said Laxmana. Some shippers were already front-loading freight ahead of a possible second U.S. port strike and potential increase in tariffs on Chinese imported goods. Now, we can add a potential increase in Mexico and Canada imported goods. This adds to the list of reasons shippers are exploring moving up their freight timelines, pull forwarding, front loading, right? Moving up their freight timelines. Here, let's remember the sentence. Moving up their freight timelines, freight schedule. Moving up their freight timelines, moving up their freight timelines, moving up their freight timelines. Paul Brasher, Vice President of Global Supply Chain for ITS Logistics, said companies started pulling trans-Pacific inventory ahead as early as late November. Not only was inventory from China pulled ahead, but all trans-Pacific origins, as there is a concern that there will be a wave of additional freight brought in as tariffs are announced. There will be a wave of additional freight brought in as tariffs are announced, said Brasher. E-commerce goods, small appliances, soft goods, and replacement parts are all affected. I don't understand this logic. Not only was inventory from China pulled ahead, but all trans-Pacific origins, as there is a concern that there will be a wave of additional freight brought in as the tariffs are announced, said Brasher. E-commerce goods, small appliances, soft goods, and replacement parts are all affected. The recent tariff headlines highlight the lack of specifics available about Trump's trade plans pre-inauguration. The recent tariff headlines highlight the lack of specifics available about Trump's trade plans pre-inauguration. What is pre-inauguration? We know the inauguration, but shouldn't it be like a adverb? Trump's trade plans before inauguration, right? Pre-inauguration. So obviously, pre-inauguration here acts like a verb. Adverb. But Laxmana stressed that front-loading doesn't happen overnight and largely depends on the supplier and production's ability to ramp up, right? Front-loading, pull forward, pull ahead. For many big companies, the front-loading effort began earlier last year, according to William George, Director of Research at Import Genius, who reviewed retail customs records. Walmart's China originating U.S. maritime imports are up over 33% from 2023 to 2024, said George. Walmart's China originating U.S. maritime imports. China originating. Columbia Sportswear's year-over-year imports are up over 50% from 2023 to 2024 and are up over 80% during the March to December period, when front-loading activity is believed to have spiked, he added. Topping the list of items being front-loaded in the CNBC survey were apparel, sneakers, followed by housewares, appliances, and middle-priced goods, tequila, wine, furniture, and manufacturing, and auto parts were also identified. So auto parts from Mexico, right? Tequila, wine, furniture, and manufacturing and auto parts. Most of them are from Mexico. Tariffs remain top of mind for everybody in the industry, said Stephen Lamar, CEO of the American Apparel and Footwear Association. Many have accelerated deliveries or are accelerating sourcing diversification strategies to mitigate tariff risk. But no amount of planning can change the fact that tariffs are taxes that fuel inflationary pressures. Even the uncertainty generated by multiple and conflicting tariff threats wreak havoc on business planning and introducing unwarranted supply chain costs. Right? Another good expression is tariffs remain top of mind for everybody in the industry. Tariffs remain top of mind for everybody in the industry. Tariffs remain top of the mind for everybody in the industry. Brasher said ITS distribution facilities are also filled with components for future infrastructure projects and solar panels. When a construction company bids on a project, the price they were quoted and the budget allocated was made years ago, Brasher said. We started receiving these types of items in early November. Orders were made back in the spring for full delivery because it takes time to manufacture and ship products. These companies cannot afford tariff increases because they cannot go back and ask the municipality for more money. Brasher added that some critical infrastructure was pulled forward earlier to avoid any possible supply congestion, which could delay construction. Survey respondents also indicated that shippers were mitigating tariffs by switching to non-Chinese suppliers and manufacturing operations in Vietnam, Cambodia, India, Malaysia, Kenya, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Taiwan, and Turkey. No Korea? I'm Korean. Brasher explained with the potential changes in tariffs on Mexico exports. Texas is starting to see a major strategic shift in importance. Right now, clothing, textiles, fabrics are being impacted, but there is not a shipper using Mexico or China in their supply chain that is not closely looking at changing up their sourcing and logistics strategy in 2025, he said. So everybody is looking at their sourcing strategies again. Product categories being pulled forward ahead of looming tariffs, right? Looming tariffs. That's another good expression, looming. Trade war is looming over the horizon, right? Looming, loom. Let's remember this word, looming tariffs. Looming tariffs. Pulled forward or pull ahead or front loading, right? Pull forward. Sneakers and apparel, housewares, appliances, auto parts, middle-priced goods, aluminum, steel, luxury goods, aspirational luxury, promotional items, other. Source: CNBC Supply Chain Survey conducted among 17 logistics industry executives between December 11th, 2024 and January 6th, 2025. John Gold, Vice President of Supply Chain and Customs Policy for the National Retail Federation said there are still a lot of unknowns within the supply chain that retailers are preparing for at the start of the new year. While strategic tariffs are an important trade tool, the potential for broad-based tariffs on everyday consumer goods remains a concern, said Gold. Retailers will continue to plan for mitigation and supply chain diversity to ensure resiliency and preparedness ahead of new potential challenges. While the prospect of an aggressive start to trade policy in second Trump term looms, it is also a time of year when front-loading occurs due to major holidays in Asia. More than 60% of respondents said Lunar New Year freight, which consists of spring and summer products, were also front-loaded to avoid any supply chain disruption. Ben Bidwell, director of North America Customs, said, Ben Bidwell, you need to bid well, right? Bidding. You need to be successfully bidding, so bid well. Ben Bidwell, I'm just joking, director of North America Customs and Compliance for C.H. Robinson, has been advising clients to closely consider and coordinate with their finance department and pull forward inventory to potentially bid an increase in tariffs. Shippers should run risk scenarios to understand impacts at different rates, while also identifying areas where you could add more agility and diversification into your supply chain, said Bidwell. This will allow for contingency planning as the timing looks like it could be adjusted amid the new administration. Shippers should run risk scenarios to understand impacts at different rates, while also identifying areas where you could add more agility and diversification into your supply chain, said Bidwell. Should run risk scenarios, right? That's good expression. Shippers should run risk scenarios to understand impacts at different rates. Shippers should run risk scenarios to understand impacts at different rates. Shippers should run risk scenarios to understand impacts at different rates. Consumer demand remains strong. Forecasts for consumer demand remain healthy based on the volume of freight being imported, with 43% of respondents saying they saw an increase of 5%. The other half of respondents saw the same level of orders or a slight increase of 3%. Recent national data on retail sales also indicates a healthy holiday spending season. The majority of items being imported during the Lunar New Year freight order period, 83%, are classified as mid-price point. Stevenson, 17% were lower price point. Respondents to the survey indicated no freight orders in the higher end price point category. Okay, so they all are mid-price point, right? Mid-price point. Lower price, higher price, or higher end, lower price point. Products moving from warehouses and into stores for replenishment. CNBC Supply Chain Survey. Apparel, shoes and sneakers, home goods, high-end products, midpoint price products, promotional items. Source: CNBC Supply Chain Survey conducted among 17 logistics industry executives between December 11th, 2024 and January 6th, 2025. Stress on higher ticket discretionary items among consumers who continue to spend but are being more careful was clear from the data on products now being moved out of warehouses and into stores for holiday replenishment. Higher-end price point product replenishment, 17%, was at half the level of middle point price products and far below home goods, apparel, and sneakers. The trucking industry, drayage, trucking industry, which had battled a deep freight recession in recent years, continues to stabilize, according to the survey. Over half, 57% of respondents said they expect trucking freight rates to rise in their first quarter, while another 30% said pricing should remain the same. The exact timing of any rebound remains in flux, though, with the trucking bellwether J.B. Hunt reporting mixed results on Thursday. Higher volumes, but persistent pricing pressure that hurt earnings and weighed on shares, right? Trucking industry. So trucking industry, they face increased pressure to cut down on their earnings. Their higher increased volumes for trucking industry, but their earnings are not that much, right? Trucking bellwether, right? Trucking bellwether. Trucking freight rates to rise in the first quarter, stabilize, right? Survey results falls in line with long-haul trucking rates out of Southern California, which have been supported by the tariffs strategy and movement of containers to the West Coast amid the strike threat. The average per mile rate out of Los Angeles in December rose 5% from November to $277, a 26-month high, according to data compiled by Journal of Commerce from Cargo Chief, DAT, and LoadSmart. Average long-haul rates out of the East Coast have remained steady. Well, kind of asterisk and in-depth analysis, right? CNBC is also a very good source for English learning and also good source for getting information about U.S. economy. So a lot of companies have front-loaded cargo into the U.S. Here, front-loading means they just shove things up and there's a huge jam on the front end, while the back end or retailers, they still have a lot of space to take in the goods, right? Front loading also means pull forward, or to pull ahead, or to purchase the products ahead of the schedule. So moving up freight timetables, right? Moving up freight timetables. Trucking bellwether, right? Safe food, and what else? Looming tariffs, right? Looming potential. Let's see if I can remember other expressions here. Moving up their freight timelines, moving up their freight timelines. Shippers should run risk scenarios for rates for impacts at different tariff rates. Tariffs remain top of mind for everybody in the industry. Tariffs remain top of mind for everybody in the industry. Tariffs remain top of mind for everybody in the industry. Tariffs remain top of mind for everybody in the industry. Tariffs remain top of mind for everybody in the industry. Front loading, pull ahead, pull forward, looming tariffs. Shippers should run risk scenarios to understand impacts at different rates. Shippers should run risk scenarios to understand impacts at different rates. Bellwether, trucking bellwether J.B. Hunt. Well, that's it. Hey, everybody, thanks for listening, and